When it comes to perfectionism, do you think it's ever really worth it? That feeling of getting everything just right, creating something flawless, but at what cost? Relationships, careers, even your health? That's the question I want you to think about as we talk about James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers ever and one of the most intense perfectionists the music world has ever seen. So before we jump in, let's clear up what perfectionism really is. It's not just wanting things to be perfect, it's a constant pressure on yourself and everyone around you. The fear that if something isn't flawless, it's failure. Perfectionism can sneak in from childhood experiences, genetics, or social pressure. And it can show up in any career. Musicians, chefs, hairstylists, anyone who feels like nothing they do is ever good enough. James Brown, man, he was intense. People called him the hardest working man in show business for a reason. He demanded absolute precision from his band. Every note, every beat, every dance move, every uniform had to be perfect. Miss a note, $5 fine. Shoes not polished, $5 fine. Talking on stage, well, I think you know what I'm getting at. And it wasn't private, he did it during the performance. Subtle hand signals sometimes with his back to the crowd. The band knew, but the crowd didn't see. It was high stakes every night. And rehearsals? 8, 10, 12 hours straight. Saxophonist Maceo Parker said he could call your name during a song and you had to improvise perfectly on the spot or face the consequences. And when a band member left, no problem. He had backups ready, 5 drummers at one point, just to keep everyone on their toes. And in March 1970, the band members were finally fed up. Fines, uniforms, hours, they had a list of demands for better pay and treatment. Brown's response? He fired them on the spot. So then, he decides to call up a young Cincinnati band called the Pacesetters. Teenage brothers Bootsy Collins on bass and Phelps Catfish Collins on guitar. And just like that, he created a brand new band, the JBs. They recorded some of his biggest funk hits like Get Up, I Feel Like Being a Sex Machine, and Soul Power. The new lineup was tight, precise, and iconic if you ask me. But imagine working under that kind of pressure. Brown's perfectionism was not just music. Uniforms had to be perfect. Tuxedos, bow ties, shiny shoes. Anything less, you get a fine. He often bought them himself and demanded that they be returned if a musician left. I mean, he tested them constantly, adding lyrics mid-song, improvising, making them adjust on the fly, and punishing them if they couldn't keep up. He even undermined opening acts he felt threatened by. He would shorten their sets or find ways to throw them off. It was really tense. However, it did create revolutionary music. Funk as we know it owes its groove and precision and rhythm to James Brown's obsessive attention to detail. So let's talk. As a recovering perfectionist, I know that perfectionism has its ups and downs. For James Brown, the ups were huge. Funk music might not exist without him. His live shows were high energy, choreographed to perfection. Band members like Maceo Parker and Bootsy Collins became legends. And his brand, hardest working man in show business, yeah, that was him. But sadly enough, the downs were just as intense. Relationships were strained, multiple failed marriages, legal issues over substances and taxes, and constant pressure on band members like fines and stress and uncertainty. Perfectionism can take a serious toll on everyone around you. So, why was James Brown like this? Well, it pretty much boils down to childhood, personality, and experiences. He grew up poor, with tough family life, and survival meant control. If you combine that with natural perfectionist tendencies, type A, detail-oriented and driven, and you add society's pressure and the stakes of show business, you get someone obsessed with control and flawless results. The truth is, most perfectionists don't realize they're perfectionists or the harm it can do. Some of us push ourselves just way too far. And even worse, we tend to push others. So, not all is lost. Here are some practical steps. First, try setting realistic goals. Focus on progress and not perfection. Break big tasks into small steps and practice self-compassion. Celebrate wins. Ask, does this really need to be perfect? Is anyone even really going to notice that last little small change? Probably not. And no, this doesn't just go for musicians. This is also for that chef that overseasons or decorates the plate so long that the food gets cold, or that hairstylist who spends an extra 30 minutes making sure every strand of hair is in place. Anyone can get caught in the trap, but just remember, only the Creator is perfect. Striving for excellence? Sure. Paying attention to detail? Wonderful. Obsession over perfection? Now that's dangerous. So, after hearing all of this, I'll ask the question again. Is the price of perfection truly ever worth it? I mean, look at James Brown, amazing music, but heavy cost. Think about your own life. Are you pushing yourself or others too far for results that may not be worth it or even achievable? And I'd really love to know what you all think about this, so please leave me some comments. Let's start a conversation because this is something that a lot of us struggle with. And with that in mind, I want to leave you with one more thing. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness so that Christ's power may rest upon me. 2 Corinthians 12:9.